All right, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, Department of Transportation, Part not 397. All right, Part D, Routing Class 7 of Radioactive Materials, Part 397-101, requirements of motor carrier drivers, except to provide in paragraph B of the section circumstances with only one practical highway route available. Considering operating an SSSC safety carrier on any other person operating motor carrier vehicle class 7 radioactive materials defined in Title 49 CFR 172-403 with the wind apply carding is required in Title 49 CFR 172 shall ensure the motor vehicle with the operating with the route with the minimum radiological risk. Consider available information, accidental rate, transit time, population density, activity time of the day of the week during the transportation will occur to determine the level of radioactive risk. And tell the driver when en route with a take with the motor vehicle for the containing of the Class 7 radioactive materials, except the otherwise permitted the paragraph, then paragraph F of the section carry any of the person operating the motor vehicle containing a highway route control quantity of the Class 7 radioactive materials defined in Title 49 CFR 173-403 shall operate the motor vehicle only preferred routes for purpose of the so part of the preferred route of the interstate system, highway forever the alternative route with the non-designated state routing agency, the state designated route selected for the state routing agency pursuant to statute 397-103, both or both above. Motor carrier with a person operating motor vehicle containing the highway route controlled quantity of the class of the radioactive material defined in Title 49 CFR 173-403 shall select routes to reduce the time of the in transit with the preferred route segment of the trip of the interstate system, bypass for the interstate system, beltway around the city would available should be used in place of the preferred route through the city and unless the state routing agency has designated alternative route. The motor vehicle that may be operated over the route with the other preferred route only under the following conditions. The deviation preferred with the necessary pickup of delivery highway route control quantity class of the radioactive materials make the necessary rest of the fuel motor vehicle to repair stop the make of the emergency conditions make condition use of the preferred route unsafe and impossible for pickup to delivery and not over preferred route. The route selected must be selected short distance route with the pickup of the location of the nearest preferred route entry location for the short distance route with the delivery location of the nearest preferred routing exact location deviation for the short distance pickup of the delivery route as authorized in such elevation. Based on the criteria paragraph A of the section, minimize the radiological risk. It does not exceed the short distance pick up the delivery route by more than 25 miles. Does not exceed 5 times the length of the short distance pick up the delivery route. Deviations preferred with the route pick up the delivery routes other than not preferred routes which are necessary rest of the fuel of the motor vehicle to repair stop to pick up the emergency conditions should be made in accordance with the criteria paragraph A of the section. Minimize the radiological risk unless due to the emergency conditions that does not permit use of the criteria. A carrier designated agent operate the motor vehicle with a contained of the package highway route control quantity class 7 radioactive materials defined in Title 49 Standard Code Federal Regulations 173-403 to prepare a written route with the supply of the copy of the departure of the motor vehicle, the driver, the copy of the shipment to prepare the departure of the inclusive use of the shipment is defined in Title 49 CFR 173-403 with 15 working days following the departure of the other shipment. The variation between the route and the plan with the routes actually used in reason all it should be reported an amendment in the route with the plan delivered and shipment as soon as practical within 30 days of the following deviation. The route of the plan shall contain the same with the origin destination plan. The route selected for the plan for the section allowing plan and stated plane stops, estimated departure arrival time, telephone numbers of which for the actual case of the emergency assistance each for the state to be entered. No reason person transport package highway route control quantity class of the radioactive materials public highway routing unless driver has received the 2 preceding years of writing and training on written training on requirements of Title 49 CFR 172, 173, 177 the pertaining class of radioactive materials transported, protect, and properly transport the class of radioactive materials being transported. Procedures to be filed within case of the accident, other emergency, the driver has or her immediately possession for the certification, training, the evidence for the training required with the section copy placed within this qualification following with the 391-51 subchapter for the driver's name, the operator with the license name of the day of the training was provided the name and the address of the person provided with the training, the driver that has been trained with the hazard characteristic of the highway route control quantity with the class of the radioactive materials, and 5, the statement of the person providing the training information with the certificate is accurate. 3, the driver in his or her immediate possession of the route plan required with the paragraph D of the section operate the motor vehicle in accordance with the route plan. And 7, the person who transport irradiated reactor fuel in compliance with the plan with the required in Title 49 CFR 173-22C with the ensure the physical security with the material variation and security purpose of the requirements of the section permitted so far necessary to meet the requirements of the imposed under such a plan otherwise than using the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission Title 10 CFR Part 73. Alright, it's 397-103. Requirements of state routing designation. State routing agency defined in 397-201C shall select the routes, minimize the radiological reuse, using guidelines selecting preferred highway routes, highway routing, control quantity, shipments of the radioactive material that has equivalent routing on analysis that adequately consider overall risk of the public of the designation must perceive the substance of consultation effect with local jurisdiction and any of the other affected states and ensure the consideration of the impact continue with the designated routes. State routing agencies may designate the preferred route of the alternative in addition to one of the more of the interstate highway system highways, including interstate system bypass and interstate system belts. The state designation route effective the date given the written notice of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration by email hmrrouting@.gov by certified returning as a request of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration Office of Enforcement Compliance with 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C. Attention, National Hazard Material Routing Registry received thereof with acknowledged reading of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration routing a route is published in the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration Hazard Material Route Registry. A list of state designated preferred routes, copy of the guidelines selecting preferred highway routes with the highway routing control quantity shipment of radioactive material are available upon request from the Motor Carrier Safety Administration Office of Enforcement Compliance, 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C. Alright, subpart E, preemption procedures, 397-201. For purpose of the scope of the procedure, the subpart prescribes the procedure by which any person, including the state political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe directly affected with the highway, the routing designation has material may apply with the administrator, determined as whether the highway routing designation is preempted under Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 5125 or 397-69 or 397-203 of this part. State political subdivision Indian tribe may apply with the administrative waiver of the preemption with respect for the highway with the routing designation. State political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe acknowledged to be preempted by Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 5125, 396, or 397-69, 397-203. This part has been determined as a court of the competent jurisdiction to be preempted. Unless otherwise ordered, the administrator of application of the preempted determination will include the application of the waiver of the preemption will be treated solely with the application of the preemption determination for the purposes of this part. Act means Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 5101. For the formerly known as the Hazardous Material Transportation Act, administrative means the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, the Chief of the Executive of the Federal Motor Carrier Act, Safety Administration Agency of the United States Department of Transportation, his designee has material means of the substance, including the hazardous substance, has been determined in Secretary of Transportation to be capable of posing unreasonable risk to the health and safety property for transportation commerce that has been so designated. Indian tribe, the same meaning of the contained in Section 4 Indian Tribe Self-Determined Educational Act of Title 25 U.S. Standard Code 450B. Persons mean individual, firm, partnership, corporation, company, association, joint stock association, including any trustee, receiver, signer, similar representative thereof, the government, Indian tribe, the agency, instrumental, any of the other government, Indian tribe, that offers hazardous material transportation and commandments the transportation hazardous material and furtherance of the commercial enterprise, such as the term does not include the United States Postal Service. Public subdivision include the municipality, public agency, any other instrumentally one or more states, or the public corporation, board, or commission established under the laws of one or more states. Routing agency mean the state highway agency designated by the governor, or state of the agency designated by the Indian tribe, or the supervisor according to the approve of the highway routing designation from the state and Indian tribe. Any highway routing designation made with the public subdivision state shall be considered the designation made through the state of the state. Made by the state. Routing designation includes any regulation, limitation, restriction, curfew time of the travel, restriction, lane restriction, routing ban, port entry designation, route waivers, restriction applicable to highway transportation of the hazardous material over the specific highway route portion of the route. State means the state of the United States, the District of Columbia, Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Commonwealth of the Northern Marina Islands, Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Guam, or any other territories in possession of the United States designated by the Secretary. Or 397-203, standard for determining the preemption of the highway routing designation established, maintained, and enforced by the state political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe preemption compliant with both the highway routing designation A with the requirement of the act of regulation issued with the act of the non-possible highway routing designation applied with the force created with the obstacle with the accomplishment of the executive execution of the act of the regulation issued with this act under this act. Highway routing designation preempted and pursuant to 397-69B of this part, and B is reserved. 397-205 preemption application. Any person, including the state public subdivision thereof the Indian tribe directly affected with the highway routing designation, any other state of the public subdivision or Indian tribe may apply for the administrator for the determination whether the highway routing designation is preempted with the act. 397-203 with the subpart of the administrator shall publish a note of the application Federal Register. Each application filed with under the section determined the submit of the administrator Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, 1200 New Jersey Avenue, South Washington, D.C. Office of the Chief of the Counsel Enforcement and Litigation Division set forth with the detailed description of the highway routing designation of the state public subdivision thereof Indian tribe for which the determination is sought, if applicable, to specify the provision of the act of regulation under the act under which the applicant seeks the preemption of the highway routing designation, state public subdivision thereof the Indian tribe is claiming the application of the believes the highway routing designation of the state political subdivision Indian tribe should be not preempted under the standard 397-203. Alright, state of how the applicant with respect to the highway routing designation of the state public subdivision and tribe the following application terminating under this section does not constitute the ground for the non-compliance with the requirements of the Act. Any regulation issued under the Act, once the administrator has published in the Federal Register application received the paragraph A of the section, no applicant shall be for such determination may seek relief of the respect of the same the substance of the same issue with any of the court final action may has been taken in the application until 180 days after the filing application, whichever occurs first, and nothing in this section shall be construed prohibiting any person, including state political subdivision thereof, the Indian tribe directly effective to any of the highway routing designation seeking determination preemption any of the component any court with a component with a jurisdiction applying with the administrative under paragraph A of the section 397-207 preemption notice. If the application other than the state political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe application may have a complete copy of the application, the state public subdivision thereof the Indian tribe concerned accompanied by the statement of comments may be submitted regarding application of the administrator within 45 days. Application filed with the administrator must include certification through the applicant complied with the paragraph must include the names and addresses of each of the official with whom the copy of the application was sent. The administrator may afford the interested person the opportunity to file the written comments of the application, serve the notice of any of the person readily identifiable administrator as person who will be affected with the rules being solved with publication in the Federal Register. Each person submitting the written request administrator with the respect application file under the section shall copy the comments of the application, certify that the administrator he or she has complied with the requirements. The administrator may notify of those person participating in the proceeding of the comments provided with the opportunity to those other person who will respond. Alright, 397-209, preemption process. The administrator may initiate investigation at any time in the system. Statement of the application utilizes his or her evaluation relevant facts obtained by that investigation. The administrator may solicit and accept the submission through the third person relevant to any applicant. Will provide applicant an opportunity to respond in third person submission and evaluation of applicant. The administrator may consider the other service over the information the administrator may convey to the hearing of the event conference hearing of the conference advance of the evaluation application. The administrator may dismiss the application without prejudice if he or she determines whether, that there is insufficient information upon which it is based of a determination. He or she requests additional information the applicant is not submitted. 397-211, the preemption determination. Upon consideration application relevant information received, the administrative issue determination. B. Notwithstanding the application for the determination has not been filed with the 397-205, the administrator, his or her own initiative, may issue the determination whether the particular highway running designation, state, political subdivision thereof of the Indian tribe preempted under the Act, regulation issued under the Act, the determination include with the written statement setting forth the relevant facts and legal basis for the determination provided with any person aggrieved with hereby filed with a petition reconsideration 20 days with accordance with 397-223, unless determined and issued pursuant to paragraph B of the section of the administrator serve the copy of the determination upon the applicant the preemption determination of the administrator shall serve the copy of the determination upon any of the person who participated in the proceeding readily identified with the administrator effective the determination. A copy of each of the determination is placed on the file with the public with a document of the administrator published for the determination notice for the determination in Federal Register. If no petition reconsideration within 20 days in accordance with 397-223, the determination under the section continues the final agency decision whether the partake of the highway routing designation, state public subdivision thereof, the Indian tribe preempted under acts or regulations issued thereunder. The fact that determination has not been issued under the section with respect to the particular highway routing designation, state political subdivision thereof, the Indian tribe carries no implication that to whether the requirement is attempted preempted under the act of regulation issued thereunder. Alright, 397-213, waiver to preemption application. Any state public subdivision, Indian tribe may apply with an administrative waiver to the preemption with respect to the highway, the designated state political subdivision thereof, the Indian Acknowledgement Preempted Act for the 397-203 subpart of the court of the competent jurisdiction of the administrator may waive the preemption with respect to such requirement of the determination that such requirements are afford an equal or greater level of protection public of effective afforded the requirements for the act of regulation issued under the act and does not reasonably burden the commerce. B. Each application filed within the section of the waiver of the preemption, the determination must be submitted to the administrator of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Washington, D.C., Office of the Chief Counsel of the Enforcement Litigation Division, so forth detailed description of highway routing designation, state public subdivision thereof, the Indian tribe with the determination being sought, include a copy of any of the relevant copy of the order determined issued pursuant to 397-211, contain express acknowledgement of the application highway routing designation of the state public subdivision thereof, the Indian tribe preempted within the act, the regulation issued with the act unless it has been determined by the court component jurisdiction any other determined issued by the subpart, specify each of the provisions of the act regulation issued with the act of the preemption highway routing designation state public subdivision thereof the Indian tribe. 6. State why the application begins to believe the highway routing designation state political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe affords an equal greater level of protection for the public and afford the requirements of the Act of the regulation issued for the Act. State why the application believe the highway routing designation state public subdivision thereof the Indian tribe does not unreasonably burden commerce, and specify the steps of the state of the political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe to take an administrative enforcement effectively to preempted requirement. Alright, 397-215 waiver notice. The application of the state public subdivision Indian tribe shall copy the application of the subsequent amendments to other documents relating to the application. Each person application reasonable assertion will be effective determination. So the copy of the application must be accompanied with a statement of the person who may be submitted with the comments regarding the application of the administrator within 45 days of the application filed with the administrator must include the certified with the application complied with the paragraph must include the name and address of each of the person whom the application was sent. Nothing with the same with the provision of paragraph A of the section with the state political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe determines the compliance with paragraph A of the section with impractical applicable. 1. Comply with the requirements of the paragraph A of the section. Regard with each person with a reasonable or practical to notify them. Include the applicable to file with administrative description of the person of classes of the person of the notice of the not instead of the administrator require the applicant to provide the additional with the required paragraphs A of the B of the section. May determine the notice required for the paragraph A of the section is not practicable when the notice should be published in the Federal Register. The administrator may serve the notice of any of the person may readily be identifiable administrative person, but it will not be effectively determined and solved. It may be afforded person the opportunity to file written comments of the application. Any person submitting with the comments of the administrator with respect to the application filed under this section send a copy of the comments of the application for the person certifying when the purchases he or she complied with the requirements of the paragraph. The administrator will notify the other person participating in proceeding of the comments to provide with the opportunity for the other person to respond. 397-217 wavering process. Administrator may initiate investigation statement of the application, utilize the relevant facts obtained with the investigation. Administrator may solicit, accept the submission third party if some relevant application will provide applicant with the opportunity to respond with third person submission. Evaluating the application, the administrator may convey a hearing of the conference, advance evaluation of the application. Administrator may dismiss the application without prejudice. He or she determines which of the insufficient information upon the basis of determination upon his or her request additional information is not submitted to the applicant fails to provide the notice required for the subpart. C. The except the provided in the subpart, the administrator will only consider the applicant for waiver of the preemption determination. R1. The applicant expressly knowledge of the applicant with the highway routing designation of the state political subdivision Indian the tribe through the determination solved with the preemption of the act of the regulation thereunder. The highway routing designation of the state political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe has to be determined by court competent jurisdiction and determination issued pursuant to 397-211 the preempt the act of the regulation issued thereunder. When the administrator has received all substantive information necessary to process the application of the waiver of the preemption determination notice of the fact will be served upon the applicant. Additional notice of all the other person who is to receive notice of the proceeding may be served with the publishing notice of the Federal Register. 397-219 waiver determination order. Upon consideration application of the relevant information received obtained during the proceeding of the administrator issue the order setting for his or her determination. The administrator may issue the waiver of the preemption order only if he finds the requirement of the state and public subdivision thereof the Indian tribe affords the public of the level of safety at least equal to that if afforded with the requirements of the act. The regulation issued under this act does not unreasonably burden commerce and determine whether requirement state and political subdivision of the Indian tribe unreasonably burden commerce for the administrator may consider the following factors: the extent of the increased cost of impairment of efficiency of the result of the highway routing designation state public subdivision Indian tribe. 2. Whether the highway routing does not state and public subdivision Indian tribe has rational basis. Whether the highway routing designation state public subdivision thereof the Indian tribe achieve the state proposed purpose, stated purpose. Whether the need of the uniform regarding the subject concern with whether the highway routing designation state political subdivision Indian tribe conflicts with those of the state and political subdivision thereof the Indian tribe. The order includes the written statement setting forth the relevant facts, legal base for the determination that provides any of the person aggrieved that the order may file the petition with reconsideration in accordance with 397-223. The administrator serve the copy of the order of the applicant any of the other person participating with the proceeding upon any of the person readily identified with the administrator as one who may be defective the order of the copy of each for the order placed on the file with the public docket. Administrator may publish the order with the notice of the order in Federal Register with no petition reconsideration 20 days in accordance with 397-223 order issued under the section constitute with the final agency decision regarding with the particular requirements of state political subdivision thereof Indian tribe preemptive the act of the regulations issued under thereof where the preemption is waived. 397-221 timelessness. The administrator fails to take an action with the action within 90 days of the serving notice required within 397-217D. The application may be treated application that has been denied as having been denied in all respects. All right, 397 and 223, petition and reconsiderization. Any person aggrieved to any order issued 397 and 211 397 and 219 may have the petition reconsiderization administrative. The petition must be filed within 20 days for the determination order issued under the above section. The petition must contain the concise statement of the basis seeking the reconsiderization, including specific factual, legal errors, material information not previously available. Petitioner shall mail a copy of the petition to each person participating in the applicant in the writing of the waiver of the preemption proceeding accompanied with the statement of the person may be submitted the comments concerning the petition administrator within 20 days of the petition filed with the administrator must contain the certification of the petition has complied with the paragraph and include the names and addresses of all the person whom copy of the petition was sent. The administrative decision under this section constitutes the final agency decision if the no petition reconsiderization filed in the section of the determination is issued under 397-211 or 397-219 becomes final agency decision at the end of the 20-day period. And 397-225 judicial review, a part proceeding under 397-205A or 213A or 223A may seek review of the appropriate district court of the United States of the decision of the administrator under such proceedings only filing petitions such as the court within 60 days after filing agency decision. And that was part 397. 397. Transportation hazard material driving and parking rules.